Thank you for joining us on Newsweek as we highlight some top stories we followed in the course of the week. This week we begin with the latest on the death of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani, a development that is creating tension across the globe. Well, here in Nigeria, security agencies are on high alert after an intelligence report that some domestic interests are planning to embark on a massive public disturbances and sabotage. The governors of the southwestern states have developed a community policing response to the scourge of insecurity which has plagued the region over time. Well, this collaboration tagged Operation Amotekun will complement efforts of the police in the area of combating kidnapping, armed robbery, herders and farmers' clashes. Now, the apparent bad blood between the United States and Iran recently climaxed with the killing of Iran's military general and second-in-command, Qasem Soleimani, in an airstrike in Baghdad, Iran. Well, the Iranian government insists the United States has gone too far and has vowed to retaliate at whatever cost. Moya Thomas reports.
The Iranian flag flying at half-mast, an indication of a country in mourning. More than 80 million citizens of the Islamic Republic of Iran are grief-stricken over Donald Trump's approved killing of Qasem Soleimani. For experts, this leaves a sore taste in the mouth as they contemplate what may be the likely consequence of the action. Some are considering a war of global proportions, and the trending World War III has put other countries on the edge. With a terrorist attack in Kenya, Nigeria has also decided to fortify security around the cities. At the American Embassy in Abuja, a police patrol vehicle could be seen strategically stationed to possibly thwart any rising disturbance. The Inspector General of Police in Nigeria has also put his men on alert to ensure there is no such attack in Nigeria, considering the Shiite of Nigeria and its roots in Iran. U.S.-Iranian relations has never really been cordial. It's been marred by mistrust and skepticism since 1953, when U.S. orchestrated the overthrow of Iran's elected prime minister. Several efforts to mend the relationship by successive U.S. presidents have been short-lived. The bad blood effectively brought down the government of President Jimmy Carter due to his inability to successfully handle the American hostage crisis during his reign. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
Now joining me in the studio to discuss this is a security expert, Dixon Osage. Thank you for your time on the program.
Nice being here.
So yes, this issue between the two parties, the United States and Iran, saw the shooting down of a Ukrainian airplane, by an Iranian missile, where Iran initially admitted not to have shot it, but now it said it did it in error. Now, from what we've seen so far between these two countries, how much do you think this escalating tension will affect the entire globe and, of course, possibly Nigeria?
Well, first of all, I would want to congratulate you, congratulate myself, congratulate Nigeria and the world, because peradventure this incident has escalated. I won't be saying what we're talking today. I appreciate the initiative of the United Nations and the joint statement by the British and Germany in advising the world not to escalate this incident. If we go back to history, that was how World War I started, when Frederick was assassinated in Austria by Serbians. And that war lasted for 4 years, and it took about 70 million lives just because a man was assassinated in 1914. And in World War II, when the Germans took over Poland by invasion, other world powers came on board and also take a fight, which we lost about 75 million people. And I'm looking at the population of the globe now. If this war has escalated, millions or billions of lives would have gone. I also want to appreciate the leadership of the United Nations. Now, looking at America, America claimed that Soleimani was a threat to the world. And the only way they succeeded to take him out is to ensure that Americans are safe. And they claim that the reason why they eliminated him was to ensure that American lives are safe, that it's more better that they eliminate him than let him be. Because they say their essence is not to bring a war, but to avert a war. Well, I don't understand that fact. Then looking at the retaliatory aspect of that, Iranian wanted to retaliate, and the death of Soleimani took over 236 lives. 56 lives went on during the burial procession, and the misfiring of the Iranian air flight that took over 176 lives is a really worrisome situation because I think there was an operational error from the aviation industry. What I expected the Iranian aviation industry was to have a kind of a collaborative communication. Within that period of time when the environment is tense, there should be a communication. That flight shouldn't have taken off at that point. Even if the flight was supposed to have taken off, the International Air Traffic Association, IATA, should have also advised the flight management agency to ensure that they carry out risk analysis before taking off. Now the death of one man has taken over 236 lives, and it's a really worrisome situation.
So what do you think can be done to de-escalate the tensions right now between Iran and United States?
It has to be a kind of intervention from the United Nations, because Iran has vowed to retaliate any day, anytime, anywhere. They actually did retaliate, but the missiles they fired to the American area of responsibility didn't take any lives, and they are worried about that, because initially they claimed that the missile was a big blow to the Americans, and about 80 lives died in line of that missile. And Americans came on board and said, hey, there was no life lost. And we're happy there was no life lost, because America would have carried out a reprisal attack as well, and that is where escalation comes to play. And when escalation comes to play, there will be a World War III. And if World War III comes up, the question that comes into my mind, Esther, is that how prepared are we in our part of the world? Because it's really going to escalate around the globe. And this should also put our federal governments and our military in action. They should start looking at developing our military, developing our weaponry, having more arms and ammunition, purchasing technological weapons, so that in the case of any eventuality, we should be prepared for anything.
Now, talking about preparedness on our own part as Nigerians in our community, do you think we are perhaps ready for whatever eventuality, and how do you think we can protect ourselves from anything like this that could affect us as a people?
A capital no, we are not prepared. We've been fighting Boko Haram for the past 10 years. And these are elements of criminals that have taken a revolution against the state. If it takes the Nigerian government 10 years to fight a group of elements, it's a worrisome situation. What if a full-blown war comes out? I still believe in our military, and I want them to also see the territorial integrity of this nation as their priority. Because when disaster struck, the time to prepare has passed. This is the right time our military, our government needs to start preparing. In the next few days, we'll be celebrating Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Are we going to display our weapons? Are we going to display all our armories? I see a future whereby our government should project more funds in purchasing world-class equipment. And we should also look into technological aspect too, because Soleimani was killed by a drone. There was nobody that manned that drone. It was a controlled drone. We should also look into technology so that the essence of losing more men will be mitigated, because here in our own climb, we're losing more forces here in Nigeria in the course of fighting Boko Haram. So for me, I don't think we are prepared in this war. If peradventure it breaks out, but God forbid it will not break out.
Now let's look at the level of preparations. Even though we are yet to get there yet, how do you think the government is faring to assessing the level of security in the country? Because right now although we are trying to nip it in the bud, do you think the government has done enough in terms of providing for the military, the army, to secure the borders, to secure the land, our territorial integrity?
Yes, during the incident of Soleimani, I started thinking about around our borders. When you go to the southwest, east, and north, we are surrounded by a francophone-speaking country. And if any war erupts, I don't think any of those countries are our allies. And that is also a natural threat on its own. So that is why the Nigerian immigration has a very big role to play. This visa regime, I think it's a welcome development, but there should be a kind of intensive monitoring of our national borders. Give the Nigerian immigration more drones so that we can be able to patrol our national borders, go after criminal elements, because the essence of security is for you to go after the loss, go before the lost. When you go after the lost, security is defeated. So I expected our immigration service to come up the board now. There are good initiatives from the current leadership of the Nigerian Immigration Service, the visa regime, the migrant e-registrations, and whoever is not registered in our national database is considered an irregular migrant here in Nigeria. So for us to move forward, our immigration service should take control of our national borders. All necessary gadgets should be deployed to such service, project more funds, so that in the event of any eventualities, we will be prepared to curtail with such acts.
All right, thank you very much, Dixon Otage, for your insights on this issue. We appreciate it this much, but we'll still have you in our studio to discuss what is to come. Governors of the Southwest states have developed a community policing response to the scourge of insecurity which has plagued the region over time. This collaboration tagged Operation Amotekun will complement efforts of the police in the area of combating kidnapping, armed robbery, herders and farmers' clashes. Stay with us. We have more discussions after this.
20 vehicles with headquarters in Ibadan and operational base in Gbogan, Osun State. The essence is to engender a seamless security patrol system.
It will save us from all this banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, armed robbery, herdsmen and farmers' conflict, clashes for ritual killings, and cybercrime. The current situation in the country demands pragmatic and proactive solutions.
Organizers of this launch say Operation Amotekun is not a replacement for the conventional police, but a strategic approach at tackling crime. Olutayo Famous Co, TVC News, Ibadan.
Well, I still have Dixon Otage, security expert, and I have joining me on Skype, Charles Omole, a political strategist. Good to have you both on the program. So let's begin with you now, Charles. Let's hear your thoughts now on the creation of Amotekun, which is targeted at curbing insecurity. What are your thoughts? Hello, Charles.
Well, thank you very much for having me on tonight. Well, my major concern about Amotekun as an initiative is a practical solution for a strategic problem. The only way it will work as currently structured is if there is a Nigerian Police Force officers with the Amotekun team at every point. At that, within that structure, then it can work. But that would defeat the purpose of Amotekun in the sense they are supposed to be where this cannot be. They are supposed to be the high areas of community and feed information back to the police. The way it's currently structured has so many problems. The biggest concern is the fact that most people aware that the Amotekun programs are not backed up by any law. They don't have arrest. In fact, the only power they have is the power you and I have, citizens of Nigeria, which is citizens' power. So, which means if they stop at the roadside, you don't have to stop for them, and there's nothing they can do by law. So they're very exposed to the way it's been done. And I feel the best way the Southwest governments could have done is to make more of an intelligent gathering operation, whereby they're spread across the community. They're almost they become like almost a Harley ones, for the wider national security infrastructure. So they're able to pick up, what's going on, feed information to the police. Police are able to respond quickly, and proactively stop things. But the current push of giving Amotekun almost a law enforcement, sort of a clear, it's not going to work. And I also feel that legally to expose it, not just the operatives, also the governments, to potential liabilities if these people use the essential for some. The composition is also broken, training is. I think those need to be kept completely. And as to whether this will lead to state police, is part of concern of the depending on which side of the debate you are. I would say I think it's so, because or it depends. Because if Amotekun goes wrong, that will kill the case for state police. Because as you know, we had local and native police in Nigeria up to 1960 who emerged with the Nigerian police force. And for those who have a memory of history, there was allegations against the local police in the 60s. What was it for? You know what the allegations? They were corrupt. They were being used by local and native politicians against the opponents. You know, there was impunity. All the things we are using Nigerian police up to now existed in the local and native police. That was why the Uronsi government, through the expert panel, recommended for the native and local policing to be scrapped. So when people are talking about state policing now, they should understand that we've been there before. And unless we learn the lessons of history, we are going to repeat it. So in terms of Amotekun, I would say the Southwest governments need to make a security institution and political system. And to do, I have a few recommendations. Number one, they need to appoint a Southwest security advisor or SAT. Let that person, backed up by a board of security operative or security experts, be the people that actually manage the Amotekun project, and not to don't commission any other political or social political organization. There needs to be a war between Amotekun and politics.
All right, that point taken there, Charles.
The people that this is a purely security operative.
Fine.
Because the challenge and fear of people at the moment.
All right.
Is all
right, point taken there, Charles. Now let's get your thoughts, Dixon, on this. From what is said so far, definitely there's a lot we need to understand where this Amotekun, the role it has to play in terms of its mode of operation. If at all it's going to get to that point where we're looking at state police creation, but from his own analysis and his own perspective, what are your thoughts on this?
Before the creation of the Amotekun, what led to the creation of the Amotekun? Because according to Robert Peels, the founder of modern-day policing, he says the best way you can rate your national police is the absence of crime. In the past 2 years or 3 years, were there absence of crime in the Southwest? The answer is no. The criminal rate in the Southwest, what is the level? The level is very high. And the Southwest governor felt that for them to protect their own territory, they decided to establish these agencies. I don't have a problem with that. But the problem I have with that is that it's going to be a form of separations, because people from the Southeast will also want to set up their own policing. People from the South want to set their own policing. From the North, they want to set up their own community policing. And is there a unified body that is going to govern these people? Now, looking at the creation of the Amotekun, what training did they receive? What was the recruitment methodology? Were they trained in crisis management and crisis intervention? Were they trained in intelligence gathering? Because the whole essence of community policing is intelligence gathering. If you don't have that effective process of intelligence gathering, the essence of this Amotekun will be defeated. So moving forward, I would suggest an intensive training for these guys and a listed methodology, background check, because the problem we're having in this country is not insecurity per se, it's individual. Societal, we need societal attitudinal change, good fatherism, good parenting, because most criminal elements, when you go into analysis, you discover that this suffers from parental absenteeism. So our country should look at a way of building an institution whereby they will take fatherism or parenting as a key, parental upbringing as a key factors in this security. I congratulate the Southwest because they feel that many strangers have come into their West southwest zone and taking a lot of lives. Last year, Funke, the daughter of Afenifere, was eliminated by some suspected bandits, and that is not a good one for the southwest. So if the southwest are going to establish this Amotekun, training is the key factor, so that these guys will be abreast with what security is all about. Security is complex. It's not all about bringing them aboard. Security is not what they think. Security is sensitive. It's complex. It evolves about intelligence. So I don't know the intelligence rate of these guys. Are they well trained? Are they educated? Can they read and write? Do they have that psychological initiative to be able to ascertain crime and crime in progress? If they are well trained, I don't have a problem with that. Then the government should integrate them into the policing system, and there should be a synergy between them and the national forces. Then the Southwest will be a better place.
Finally, in your own nutshell, how do you think this matter of insecurity should be, what are the options rather should be explored in addressing insecurity concerns in the country? Well,
for us to address the insecurity concerns in the country, first of all, we need to look at corruption. It's eating us hard. You know, when we talk about corruption, people centered corruption on taking Nigerian funds and taking it out of this country. Corruption comes in various forms. Nepotism is corruption. You know, religious bigotry is corruption. We need to look at ourselves as a nation. Nigeria is not united. Let me tell you the truth, we are just maybe perhaps deceiving ourselves. Until we begin to see the oneness of this great nation, until we begin to believe that we exist as a nation, Nigeria will be a better place, because Nigeria is not united. If we take that spirit of unity as one Nigeria, we will be able to watch over ourselves. The issue of Southwest policing, South policing will never have come to play, because people believe that they have been betrayed by the states.
And that's a fine place to leave it. Dixon Osage, security expert, and Charles Omolis, political strategist. Thank you both for being on the part of the program tonight. And that's all for this episode of Newsweek. You can follow us on our social media platforms for updates. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using the handle at TVCNewsNG. You can also get details of all the stories we're reporting on our website, tvcnews.tv. Until the next one again, I am Esther Mapariola.